Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the new expansion, the first expansion to Lost Ruins of Arnak, Expedition Leaders. This expansion does three things that I think are great ingredients of any expansion. The first is that it adds more stuff. It adds more guardian tiles. It adds more location tiles. It adds more assistance. It adds again tiles. It adds more cards that you can acquire, more item cards, and more of the precious cards that you're going after. I forget the name offhand. But I love that. I love any expansion that adds more stuff because it's super easy just to shuffle that stuff in and start playing. You don't have to learn anything additional to play that stuff. So that's great. I love that as a baseline for a new expansion. But I also love when an expansion adds maybe a little twist, just a little something new. And this expansion does two things I think that are really, really clever that add very little rules overhead. The first is, and was a nice surprise to me, the level of asymmetry in the game. I knew with it being called Expedition Leaders and just looking into it a little bit, I knew that there would be a little bit of asymmetry among the characters in the game. But I didn't know how far they'd go with it. I thought maybe they would just give each player a unique set of cards for their character. However, the designers went well beyond that. There are 6 total characters. You can see them on the back of the mat here. 6 total characters included in the game, and they all come with their own play mat that is unique to them, that offers maybe different rewards that you can get from turning in these tiles. It offers, like this one offers an action space. I played the captain. This is the one that I played with in my first game of this expansion. I had a captain. I had an extra token. I had an actual extra meeple that I used, and I could put it right here. Or I could put any meeple really there to take the benefit from one of the face-up assistants on the board. And every character comes with their own unique mat like this, giving the designers the flexibility to do different asymmetric things with the stuff that normally comes on the mat. In addition to that, they had a bunch of tokens that come with the game that are unique to different characters. So like there was one character that had a falcon, that was a falconer, and that falcon had different abilities. There was a falcon token that came with the game. Like I said, I had an extra meeple. There's a briefcase with one of the characters that we didn't play. One of the characters had food tokens. That character only had one meeple, but they could use these food tokens to take multiple actions with that meeple over the course of each round. And I love this. I love asymmetry when you kind of go all in with it. When you don't just say, okay, here's a special card for you, but here's a special starting deck of cards. Here's a special mat. Here's a special token that is unique to your character. All that combines together for a really asymmetric feel in this expansion. So I really like that. I was surprised and delighted by that. And also, each character is so asymmetric that they actually have their own little rule set. This looks probably much bigger on camera. It actually isn't all that big. You can see how big it is here. But this was really handy to have this right in front of you instead of just in the rulebook, so you could easily read about your character without having to pass the rulebook around the table. A lot of care and attention went into this expansion. The last thing that I want to mention, and probably my favorite design choice in the game, I think this is clever, I'd love to see this in other games, is the addition of 2 new tracks. So this is the research track that you normally see on the right side of the board in Lost Ruins of Arnak. And this track, or either side of this track, replaces that research track with a new track, with new bonuses that you gain as you go up. On either side there's that aspect. New bonuses, things you can gain in different orders, new costs that you can gain as you navigate up this path. That by itself is great. The little twist, I think is really, really clever. We played on this side in our first game, and at the beginning of the game, you put a 3-cost artifact. Artifact is the name of that special type of card. You put a 3-cost artifact, a random one, on this slot on the board. And whenever you move onto that slot with your magnifying glass, you gain the benefit for that card. And that card stays there. It is a permanent benefit that you can gain one time. It's one time per character whenever you move your magnifying glass onto that space. But I love how much variety and replayability it adds to the track. You have all this stuff built into the track, and you have some tokens that are randomized on it, but simply by putting a card here, you change the shape of the track, you change the meaning of it, you change the whole feel of it simply by putting one random card on the track. They're using something they already had in the game, a component they already had in the game, to add variability to this track. I think that is brilliant. I would love to see that in more games that use tracks. Take a component that you're using elsewhere in the game and incorporate it into the track so that the track feels a little different for that particular game. Brilliant, really, really brilliant. And on the back side, if you want to say, I haven't played with this side yet, but this side has a guardian. And this is a nice thematic touch in that for any player to move past the guardian, someone needs to fight and defeat the guardian there, which I'm guessing is going to happen pretty early, maybe even the first player who gets there. But I love that idea of your kind of probably feels a little bit like Temple of Doom, where you're kind of crawling through this dungeon almost, this path of treasures and things that you can get to, and you have to go past a guardian to continue on. I really like the theme of that, and again, completely variable because every game this guardian is going to be different. Really, really clever addition there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this expansion, or if you've seen any other games that use this method of combining like a common component in the game, a variable common component, with a track to make that track feel different every time you play. Let me know other examples of other games that do that. I'm sure they do, and I want to uplift them because that is a really, really cool idea that I'd like to see more often. Especially given, I guess one final thing about that, I love that it's very easy to set that up. One way to do variable tracks is to have a bunch of little tokens that you're putting all over the place, and it adds so much to setup. But simply to put a single card or a single tile down, that's really easy. I really like that. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Expedition Leaders expansion for Lost Ruins of Arnak. I would love to hear your comments and thoughts, whether or not you've played it, in the comments below. Thanks.